I never know how to start these. I'm gonna start this with my cat. Pretend like, let's start over. Put the cat in here instead. Hey! Hey, that was a good dramatic entrance. Good girl. You're so happy to see me, aren't you? Yeah, yes you are. You're so cute. There. Hopefully she did a dramatic enough entrance to make up for my non-entrance. Heyo, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am discussing a topic, as you might have guessed. Once again, this is something I decided to talk about 5 minutes before I started recording on Friday. I am so good at procrastinating. What is wrong with me? Basically, I don't know whether I regret this or not, but I did post this video about random facts about me. And in one of those I mentioned that my favorite book used to be The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And as soon as I could read, like, I was reading that over and over and over and over, and then from there I branched out, fortunately, into the rest of the series, The Chronicles of Narnia, and really enjoyed those. They were my favorite series for the longest time, and they still have such a special place in my heart, and they're definitely up there. I hope this is not like sacrilegious or anything, but I think they're a lot like the Bible, not in that you can read them every day and like use them as your guide to life, because that's what the Bible's supposed to be, and the Chronicles of Narnia are not supposed to be like that. What is happening with traffic today? My goodness. Okay, that's cool. But they are a lot like the Bible in that I think you can read them all of your life over and over, and the more you read them and the older you are, like, the more that you get out of them, and they never really get old if you're approaching it with this heart of what can I glean from this. Like, you discover something new about it every single time. And when I was younger, I appreciated it just for the stories. Just like when I was a little kid, I only liked the story parts of the Bible, and I was like, these are interesting. Everything else, like, I don't really care particularly about this. But as I keep coming back to this series again as I get older, realizing, wow, there is so much biblical truth in here, and it's so cool rediscovering my old stories and how there is truth in there that I can take from that and apply to my life. So that's just been like a really cool experience of reading these over and over all of my life, and they're just so good. My favorite one is definitely The Horse and His Boy. I don't particularly know why, it just is. And the last time that I read it, I really appreciated this particular part of it that I hadn't really realized was so amazing before. So I'm gonna see if I can find it. So in this part of the book, the main character, Shasta, is trying to get over mountains through a pass. He lost the people that he was supposed to be following, so now he's just by himself because he couldn't get his horse to go fast enough, and now he's kind of lost in unknown territory. So he's just following a road. Because after all, said Shasta, this road is bound to get somewhere. But that all depends on what you mean by somewhere. The road kept on getting to somewhere, in the sense that it got to more and more trees, all dark and dripping, and to colder and colder air. I do think, said Shasta, that I must be the most unfortunate boy that ever lived in the whole world. Everything goes right for everyone except me. Those Narnian lords and ladies got safe away from Tashbaan. I was left behind. Erebus and Bree and Hwyn are all as snug as anything with that old hermit. Of course, I was the one who was sent on. King Loon and his people must have got safely into the castle and shut the gates long before Rabadash arrived, but I get left out. And being very tired and having nothing inside him, he felt so sorry for himself that the tears rolled down his cheeks. What put a stop to all this was a sudden fright. Shasta discovered that someone, or somebody, was walking beside him. It was pitch dark and he could see nothing, and the thing, or person, was going so quietly that he could hardly hear any footfalls. What he could hear was breathing. His invisible companion seemed to breathe on a very large scale, and Shasta got the impression that it was a very large creature. And he had come to notice this breathing so gradually that he had really no idea how long it had been there. It was a horrible shock. It darted into his mind that he had heard long ago that there were giants in these northern countries. He bit his lip in terror, but now that he really had something to cry about, he stopped crying. The thing, unless it was a person, went on beside him so very quietly that Shasta began to hope he had only imagined it. But just as he was becoming quite sure of it, there suddenly came a deep, rich sigh out of the darkness beside him. That couldn't be imagination. Anyway, he had felt the hot breath of that sigh on his chilly left hand. If the horse had been any good, or if he had known how to get any good out of the horse, he would have risked everything on a breakaway and a wild gallop. But he knew he couldn't make that horse gallop. So he went on at a walking pace, and the unseen companion walked and breathed beside him. At last he could bear it no longer. "Who are you?" he said, scarcely above a whisper. "One who has waited long for you to speak," said the thing. Its voice was not loud, but very large and deep. Are you a giant?" asked Shasta. "You might call me a giant," said the large voice, "but I am not like the creatures you call giants." "I can't see you at all," said Shasta, after staring very hard. Then, for an even more terrible idea had come into his head, he said, almost in a scream, "You're not suddenly dead, are you? Oh, please, please do go away. What harm have I ever done you? I am the most unlucky person in the whole world." Once more he felt the warm breath of the thing on his hand and face. "There," it said, "that is not the breath of a ghost. Tell me your sorrows." Shasta was a little reassured by the breath, so he told how he had never known his real father or mother, and had been brought up sternly by the fishermen. And then he told the story of his escape, and how they were chased by lions and forced to swim for their lives, and of all their dangers in Tashbaan, and about his night among the tombs, and how the beasts howled at him out of the desert. And he told about the heat and thirst of their desert journey, and how they were almost at their goal when another lion chased them and wounded his companion Erebus, and also how very long it was since he had had anything to eat. "I do not call you unfortunate," said the large voice. "Don't you think it was at least bad luck to meet so many lions?" said Shasta. "There was only one lion," said the voice. "What on earth do you mean? I've just told you. There were at least 2 the first night, and—" "There was only one, but he was swift of foot." "How do you know?" "I was the lion." And as Shasta gaped with open mouth and said nothing, the voice continued, "I was the lion who forced you to join with Erebus. I was the cat who comforted you among the tombs. I was the lion who drove the jackals from you while you slept. I was the lion who gave the horses the new strength of fear for the last mile so that you should reach King Loon in time. And I was the lion you do not remember who pushed the boat in which you lay, a child near death, so that it came to shore where a man sat, wakeful at midnight, to receive you." And read the rest of the scene because it's really good too. I love to throw books. I'm sorry. This is not good. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I just really, really, really like that whole portion of here's Shasta complaining about everything that's gone wrong in his life and all of these terrible troubles that he's had and how he was the most unlucky person that ever lived. And then Aslan, the lion, explains to him how he was not the most unfortunate person that ever lived. He was not unfortunate at all. And he goes back and explains how every single one of those things that Shasta said was actually a way that Aslan was working for his good. Yeah, he explains the good that came out of those. Shasta was seeing only the bad parts. And Aslan was like, "No, look what I was doing in your life. This is how it's all good." And I just really appreciate that because there's that verse that I also mentioned. I think I said this last video, but just like God works all things together for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. That's a promise that we have in the Bible. And I wish I could talk to God and tell him all the things that I think have gone wrong in my life and have him explain to me how those were actually good. But I feel like a lot of those I'm just going to have to take it on faith and just trust him, and he'll tell me in heaven how it was good. In heaven I'm going to see how everything all worked out for good. But here on earth, like, I want to choose to trust in his promise that he gave me. There are some things that I have seen as really good. For a personal example, when I was 8, my family moved to another country for a year, and I hated that so much. I was so terrified at the idea. I did not want to go. And if I had been given the choice, I would have said, "No, we are not doing this. We are staying in our comfortable house in America with my church and my friends." Well, my one friend. And yeah, like, I don't want to go to another country. I don't want to have to eat their food. I don't want to have to walk everywhere that I go. I don't want to have to not know the language. I don't want to not have any friends. I don't want to leave my church. I don't want to get arrested and thrown in prison for being a Christian and martyred. No, I'm just 8. Just let me stay at my house. But it was really interesting because then a while ago, I was thinking back over that and realizing, wow, I am so glad that we did that. Like, that is a big milestone in my life. And just from that 1-year trip, I traced it and saw so many ways that God has worked so much good in my life and the lives of others, which then the good that he worked in their life worked to work more good in my life and like give me encouragement in my faith, and just like all around crazy things that wouldn't have happened, or awful things that would have happened if we hadn't gone. Yeah, I don't think I would have actually made my faith personal to me. Yeah, I really don't know. And so, yeah, there are some things that I'm not going to know until heaven, but it was really encouraging to look back on that one thing and have God say, "Hey, look, here is how I worked in all of this for your good." And being like, oh wow, like now given the choice, like now seeing all the good that came from that, if I was given the choice again, I would say yes every single time. Like, I don't care. It was hard. There were bad things about it, things that I did not enjoy, things that were uncomfortable. But yeah, given the choice, I would say yes every time because now I've seen the good that he worked through that. So yeah, me with my little clouded 8-year-old childish vision, I would have said, "No way, please, no, don't make me do it, Daddy, I don't want to." But now he's kind of shown me, like, he knew what he was doing. Like, Who would have ever thought God was in control? What? This is crazy. But yeah, I don't know. That was just like really encouraging in my life that he doesn't lie. Like he tells the truth. He said he would work everything for good, and I'm going to take him at his word and believe him because he's shown me a little bit of that now. And so I can take it on faith with anything else in my life that even if in the moment I'm tempted to say, no, God, please don't make me do this. I don't want to. Instead, I will say, yes, God, because you proved to me that you were faithful in the past, and so I'll trust you that whatever this is in the future that you're asking of me that's hard, that I don't want to do, or anything that happens to me that I'm like, God, what are you doing with this? You couldn't have been in control of this. You can't make anything good come of this. No, like I want to say yes to it and have a humble heart and say, God, you know better than me. I believe that you're working because you said you were. If you don't work this together for good, then that means you lied. And like if you lied, then literally everything I ever believed falls apart. Like if one single word that he ever said wasn't true, then he's not God anymore, and I can't worship him. And then there's like literally no hope, because if a God like this doesn't exist, there is no hope for us. And I literally, if my God is not God, I literally would kill myself. I'm serious. And I don't even have a very hard life, but it just isn't worth it. Like all the pain that am gonna go through in my life, if I don't have this hope of my God is real and like this eternity is real, like that everything he promised me is true. If it's not true, then yeah, forget it. Life is not worth it to me. It's so not worth it to me. And yeah, I don't even really have anything hard. It's just no. If he's anything but truthful, then he's not God, and then everything falls apart, and there's literally no hope in the entire world. People have searched so long and tried so many different ways, but the only way that I have hope for this life is Christianity. That's the only thing. That's literally the only thing. That got a little bit sidetracked. I'm sorry. But yeah, like, that's why I'm a Christian. Is because there's no other good options. Maybe I'll talk about that more another time. I don't know. So yeah, I've seen his faithfulness in the past, and I'm gonna hold on to it that whatever he asks of me in the future, like, he is going to work it for my good. I want to be making the choice in my life to trust in God's goodness to me, believe that he tells the truth, and that he is going to work everything together for my good and for his glory. And that gives me a lot of hope that, like, whatever life throws at me, God is kind of in the business of redeeming things. So even if it looks terrible, like, I know that he's going to bring some kind of good out of it for me and glorify himself through it. And I want to be part of that. I want to say, God, you can do whatever you want in my life as long as it brings you glory. Like, I owe you everything. I owe you literally everything. And I would love to be able to pay back any of that. I mean, I know I can't ever actually pay it back, but I want to do anything for him because he did everything for me. And so I want to be so willing to give him full sway in my life, full authority and control of my life, because of gratitude for everything that he's done for me. Like, he's changed me. Like, oh my goodness, life without him is awful. It's awful. So awful. I want to be willing to, like, let him do anything in my life, even if it didn't turn out for my good, just because I owe him everything. But that's the cool thing, is, like, he's not just, like, gonna glorify himself at my expense. No, he's also saying, like, it's going to bring about good for me. Like, how crazy is that? Like, how good of a God is that? I don't... he's insane. He's just insane. Yeah. That's about it. That's the God I serve. It's one who is good. I fully believe that he is fully good. He's a good father, and he loves me, and so I'll trust him with whatever he asks me to do, whatever he asks me to go through, whatever burden he hands me. Like, I'll take it. I'll take it. Because I do believe that he is who he said he is. So, yep. That's all my rambling thoughts for today. I love rambling so much. I hope everyone else is not, like, secretly really annoyed by it. So, yeah, hopefully you guys don't mind. Because that's just me. I'm just being me. It's just not planning things out. I just sit down with that much of an idea and just talk and see what comes out. And it's mildly interesting, at least for me. It's fun, at least for me. So, and that's the whole point of this thing. I don't care about you guys. I just care about, me having fun. Me. Sorry. But yes, so thank you for watching, and goodbye. And what are we singing? I want to sing too. Hey Titus! What are you singing? Oh, okay. Well, I'm not singing with them, goodness gracious. Thank you for watching, and goodbye until more interesting things happen.